My niece likes mushrooms at the moment, so I thought, let's get some Super Sculpey, let's make some mushrooms. So I did. Well, I made one mushroom anyway. Here he is. I thought I could probably make several. If I made its mushrooms cap not symmetrical, then I could make different mushrooms by turning the cap. So if I put several of them together, depending on what I put at the front or the jaunty angle of the hat, I could make several different types of mushrooms or different looks. Then I thought, I don't want it to be a mushroom. I want it to be an alien that's disguised as a mushroom. So yeah, they just sit there minding their own business on the grass, and suddenly when someone walks past, they leap out, throw their hats off and attack them. Yeah, but I didn't give him a mouth, and that's because I've got an idea. I want to do different ones. What if I could make them all have different mouths as well? You know, a bit like they do on Stop Frame, Hardman, Nightmare Before Christmas, that sort of stuff. So I'm going to make a mould out of this. I've done moulding in another video. I mean, I will do some casting in this, but there's one, and I've cut this one already, so hopefully I can pull my... Well, this is a harder casting material, I think. So pull my cap out of that. All right, and this should pop out easier. Just about. Okay, so let's have a look at them. I'm quite pleased with those. Doesn't look like there's any bubbles in it. Okay, so let's pour some resin into this and see what we can get out of them. I'm running out of this, so about 7-8 grams of that, or indeed 8.5 grams of that. Get a stirrer ready. I bought one of these silicone coated stirrers, which is probably fine for polyurethane, but probably awful for silicone. Oh, that was a good guess. Okay, so this went off a lot quicker than I left it, but I think I got away with this here. There's only a little bit of, in fact, yeah, just a little bit dripped out the side. So that's the top. It's still very firm in the middle, but yeah, wow, look at that. That flash line isn't really there, and I can just nibble the edge off that, so that works well. This is the bit I'm really interested in. Right, lovely. There's my original. That's definitely worked. There's a bit of a nose hole there, but just a teeny bit. It's a bit messy under there, but hey, isn't it always? So I'll cast a few more of these first. Well, that's 3 to be going on with. All right, so they've come out quite well. Now let's make the mouths. So some more Sculpey. I'll just play and make these. Probably fast forward this bit because I am just making mouths. Okay, so I've done 3 different mouths on them. These aren't set yet. I could just float these into silicone and make different heads with different looks, different faces on. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to see if I can bake these. So I'm going to cook them I've got no idea whether this polyurethane will melt. It does say it breaks down with heat, but I'm going to keep it at a low temperature. I've made myself a little boat of tin foil just in case it does melt, so that this doesn't drip all over the oven. I'll do it for 120 degrees for 15 minutes from cold. And then I'll just leave it maybe overnight, so it will just be the residual heat in the oven will keep it warm, and then we'll see what happens in the morning. Well, it's the next morning, you can tell by my croaky voice, and they've not melted. Excellent. Let's go back to the desk. So let's get rid of that, it's a bit too shiny. So yeah, they didn't melt, and they feel just the same as the stuff that hasn't gone through the oven. So as long as you don't overdo it, yeah, that Sculpey's gone off. As long as you don't overdo it and do it for too long, you can harden Sculpey attached to polyurethane. So that's a good idea. So I can now either cast these or just paint them. In fact, I'm just going to paint them. They all look a bit like Homer Simpson at the moment, don't they? Huh? Time has passed and it's no longer morning. When I took these out of the oven, there was no smell whatsoever. I know I'd left them overnight to cool, but I was very careful with the temperature, but absolutely no smell of the resin on these afterwards at all. It didn't seem to break down at all having these cooked. It seems you can bake Sculpey onto polyurethane. So I've got this Vallejo bone white and it looks pretty similar. I'm not going to bother undercoating these at the moment. I'll just put a bit of this out. Should be using a wet palette now, but oh well. So I've started off with a Super Sculpey sculpt of a face with no mouth. Then I've casted them a few times. Here are some painted with some wash in the eyes and some UV resin on the eyes as well to make. And then a fly agaric, or however you say it, is looking straight into our souls. And there's some others. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been really interesting to see whether I can bake Super Sculpey onto polyurethane casts, and I can. An army of mushrooms to take over the world. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Bye!